Hi everyone, I'm Joe Fry and this is my channel, Jojo Fry Rocks, and this video is going to be a little bit of a rambling sort of thought piece, so please bear with me. There are a few things that have come up recently on my channel but also in other videos that I've been watching across guitar YouTube, and I'd be really interested in getting your thoughts and feedback around some of this stuff. So the first thing is that when I was doing the video on the TC Electronics Dark Matter pedal, there was a comment, and I know that, these people are just trolls and they just say stuff for the sake of it and it doesn't matter. But I thought, is there a legitimate point to be made here? So I thought it's kind of worth exploring and discussing, right? The point that they made was that I'm trying to do some sort of demo of what this pedal does without actually being able to properly do the technique, because I was talking about chugging, and obviously I referenced the Ola England video, Will It Chug, and was trying to kind of elaborate or expand on that point and saying, well, maybe it doesn't do that, but maybe it does, it's still good, and it maybe does something else, which I also really like. But, so I didn't think that their point really had any relevance to that video. But maybe there is a bit of a point there around the whole idea of doing demonstrations of guitars and amps and gear and stuff when you're not necessarily a super proficient guitar player, or when you are not necessarily the most knowledgeable person about effects or amps or guitars. And I kind of see that there are two sides to this argument, and I can sort of see both of them. So I would be interested in knowing on this point where you guys all stand, because I can see what they're saying in terms of if somebody's looking for information, I suppose. If somebody is thinking about investing in some guitars or gear, they go on YouTube, they look up some reviews, they watch a bunch of videos to see whether it's right for them. And there are tons of channels on guitar YouTube who do this sort of stuff really professionally, like really well. There are loads of channels where you actually have professional musicians, guitar players who make a living first and foremost as musicians. So they're really experienced, they're super knowledgeable, they're great players, which means that they really know what they're talking about, and they're able to properly and thoroughly demonstrate all the features of any particular guitar or amp or pedal, for example. And they are properly able to analyse the pros and cons, and give you a sort of overview of it and whether it might be something that you're interested in buying. So, there is an argument there to say, actually, probably the most useful stuff that you're going to see is done by professional YouTubers who now actually also make a living at, doing these videos, and they get sponsorships and they get sent things from companies to actually review and showcase on their channel. And I get that. And I think there's some merit to that argument. I think it does hold weight, actually. However, I think there is a bit of a counterpoint to that. So when I watch one of these channels, and I'm not picking on anyone, but just first one that springs to mind is someone like Jonathan Nathan Cordy, who is brilliant. I actually really like him. think he does very balanced reviews. I think he does very honest reviews, and I believe in the integrity of his channel. And I think similarly with a channel like The Guitar Geek, Andy the Guitar Geek, he is a superb guitarist, in my opinion. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's so knowledgeable, and I think his videos are also really enjoyable. So yeah, I definitely get that. I understand where that kind of comment is coming from. But I also know that when I watch these channels and I watch these guys playing and using the gear and everything, like, the first thing is, it never ever sounds bad. Like, nothing that they play ever sounds bad. So, like, almost everything that they show on their channel sounds really good. And how much of that is because of their playing ability, their musical ability, and their playing skills. And in some senses, you know, there are people out there, there are guitarists out there that could take even the worst, cheapest, most rubbish guitar and absolutely just make it sing, you know, because of the way that they're just able to do that. So in some senses, I think, is it always realistic? You know, the actual demonstration that you're getting is being done by somebody who is extremely proficient at playing. And there is another kind of level to that, which is that I think definitely if I were to play the same guitar, it's not going to sound like that because I can't play like that. And is that going to make me feel a little bit disappointed? I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe if I invested in an expensive amp that I'd seen on the Guitar Geek's channel and then my playing just still sucks, am I going to be a little bit upset? I'm not going to blame him, obviously, but I might feel like, I've spent a ton of money here and I don't seem to sound any better. Whereas if someone were to watch a video, a demo of something on my channel, I can almost guarantee that when you play it, it's going to sound better than it did on my channel because you're probably much better at playing than I am. So, you know, that's almost certainly going to give you a bit more of a positive feeling about whatever it is that you've bought, I think. You know, if anybody bought a Jet JT600 BSG off the back of the videos that I've made about it, then I guarantee you're going to absolutely love it because, you know, if you thought my playing sounded okay-ish, your playing is going to sound 10 times better than that because you are probably better than me. Like, just going by most of the viewers that I know that watch this channel, you guys have all been playing for a really long time. Loads of you are very experienced. Loads of you are kind of people who self-build or at least do modifications to guitars yourselves, and you've been doing that for years. You've played in bands, you know, I know because, you know, I've been sent videos and stuff of you doing that. So I know that you're all really good. And so, yeah, I think there's some value also and some merit in watching channels that, you know, demonstrate stuff who are not actually that great at playing. And maybe also there's part of it where it's just more relatable, I think. And I certainly feel like that. So when I watch a channel like Brian on Searching for Tone, who does tons and tons of guitar and gear demos. And he's actually very professional at giving you all the specs, all the measurements, really getting into the geeky detail of everything, which I think is really useful actually and very valuable. And then his demos, they're quite simple. They're quite straightforward. And yeah, it's not maybe the most amazing playing that you've ever seen, but actually he sounds more like what I would sound like if I was playing that guitar. And I think that gives me a sense of reassurance and a more realistic idea of what that guitar would be like for me to play. And I think there's a whole bunch of added value that you get from a channel like Searching for Tone as well, because his videos are just super entertaining. He puts so much effort into making them fun and making them enjoyable as well. So I think, we don't all want to watch just straight, serious reviews and demos all the time, because I think that would make guitar YouTube deathly dull, very bland, and everything would just be the same. And in the end, you'd just be lost in this kind of sea of repetitive videos, right? I know that kind of thing sort of happened with the Boss Katana Mark II when that came out. And I think you just get kind of death by review. And in some ways, that's very negative, I think, for the whole of guitar YouTube. And it switches people off from it. So I think there's so much room for diversity in our content and this whole kind of range and spectrum of where people are at as players and how they approach their videos and their demonstrations of stuff. So I can see both sides of the argument, but I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive. And that's where I take issue with comments that say things like, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to play, so you shouldn't be doing this type of video. Because honestly, that is just gatekeeping bullshit, and nobody needs that. So that's kind of my thinking, but it would be interesting to see where you guys stand on it as well, because yeah, there are definitely two sides to it. So that's kind of the first thing, and then the second thing that I did sort of start thinking after reading that comment was that, well, yeah, I know, like I said in the video, I haven't played these riffs very well, and that maybe I haven't fully been able to kind of demonstrate what this pedal can do, because I can't actually do the technique that we're talking about here, the chugging technique. So, maybe I definitely need to up my game in some areas and improve some areas of my playing. And at the moment, I'm just feeling like there are so many things that I need to improve and that I really don't know where to focus. I did that video a couple of weeks ago about improvisation and how I've never really done that or tried to do that, and I want to learn about how to do that and try doing it regularly. And I got so many great and helpful bits of advice from all of you, so thanks for that. But there's that, which is a whole skill set in itself. And there's a load of stuff that goes along with that, which is around kind of music knowledge and theory and all that stuff that I don't know. And then there are a bunch of other techniques that I don't really know how to do either. I've tried to learn a little bit about shredding, and I did that with Andy from Guitar Stuff Studio, but I never really kind of followed up on it. And now, the whole chugging thing, I've realised that I'm actually not great at palm muting, and I need to try and improve on that. And I want to try and improve on that. It's an important aspect of technique. And so I roped Andy into helping me with that as well. But I just feel like there's so much that I'm not good at on the guitar that I want to be better at, but it feels a little bit overwhelming, and I just feel like I don't know where to focus, and I don't have a great deal of time either to put into it. I'm also trying to eventually get to an open mic night and do a bit of a performance with the guy that I've been jamming with and practicing with. And so, we've been trying to find the time to practice the songs that we're doing, like one original song of his and a few covers. But even that, just finding a couple of hours on a regular basis just feels really hard. And I just felt a little bit down about it all, to be honest. So, I don't know, I don't know what my point about this really is. But I think I've maybe being like a bit harsh on myself and judging myself a little bit unfairly. And I think that's because, I feel bad that I'm not putting enough time into practicing with Dan. I feel bad that I'm not putting enough time into improving all these other guitar skills. And at the end of the day, like, this is supposed to be something that I enjoy. This is supposed to be my creative outlet. It's supposed to be something that I do for fun. It's not supposed to be another thing to feel bad about or to feel guilty about that you haven't done. Like when you're at work and you've got something that you're supposed to be doing and you procrastinate and you put it off for whatever reason, and then you feel bad and guilty about it. It's not supposed to be that, right? Like, I shouldn't be putting pressure on myself to be better. Like, how good do you want to be or need to be as a hobby guitarist, as a guitar enthusiast, right? I'm not trying to be a rock star. I'm not like Chris. I don't have this objective that I still want to be a rock star. So, I need to form a band and write some songs and get, record deal or anything like that. That's not my objective. I don't want to do that. I'm long past any aspirations in that respect. Am I trying to make YouTube and guitar YouTube into a career? Like, no, I'm not. I already have a career and it's going pretty well and I like it. And I'm not looking to move away from that. So, no, I don't need to put a ton more effort into becoming a really skilled, proficient guitar player so that I can do gear reviews like the Guitar Geek and get sponsorships and get companies to send me stuff. I was really, really happy that Jet wanted to work with me. I was super thrilled about that. And I got my guitar out of it. I was able to get that at a slightly reduced price from normal. So for me, that was a massive, huge thing. And I already get enough out of this channel in terms of just engaging with you guys in the community and making some new friends and things. So it's all brilliant. I'm actually having a brilliant time with the channel. So I don't know why I feel like I need to push myself and do more in terms of learning all this other stuff around my playing. But still, that's how I've been feeling. And like, I don't think that's a necessarily good headspace to be in. And it definitely doesn't sort of inspire me to make videos. So I don't think it's helpful. So yeah, my objective is just to try to just get back to playing for fun and playing things that I like, maybe exploring some new territory, and I will be continuing to do that, but not beating myself up about not being able to do it or not rapidly getting better at it. I'm not going to, because I don't have the time. So in conclusion, it would be great to know where you stand on the whole idea of how good you think someone needs to be in order to demonstrate and review stuff on their YouTube channel. You know, how good a guitarist do you think they actually need to be? And, you know, it would be good to hear some feedback around whether you think I actually should be trying to improve drastically as a guitarist, and you know, whether you want to kind of see more of that journey, whether that's interesting to you on the channel, or whether you think actually no, it's fine, because it's all very, you know, it's all very subjective, isn't it? And it depends on what all of our objectives are in our playing. And if we're not trying to become rock stars or full-time YouTube influencers, then how good really do you need to be? And I think that's a question that I'm asking myself. How good do I really need to be at playing? Obviously, we all feel that we could always be better, and I'm sure that even the Guthrie Governs of this world feel like they need to be better, or they could be better, because that's how they got that good in the first place, right? But I will never be there. I know that. So, what, where do I actually sort of want to be in order to feel happy with the level of playing ability that I have? So, yeah, that's something that I'm mulling over. But how good does it need to be for this channel that I'm doing? What do you think? So, yeah, any thoughts? Please let me know in the comments. Sorry for the rambling nature of this video, but every now and then I do like to just reflect on things that I've heard and seen, and comments and things. And yeah, I do take some of these points on board, even though they're not really done in the greatest of you know, community spirit, shall we say. So but maybe sometimes it's worth having a think about. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone.